to this match here.
Hi, looking forward to this match. I'm Ravi. We're going to be starting over here in the top left-hand side of the map, top of that red Protoss player. He is Gerald from Team Exxon.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god. I feel like I just bought someone's album.
Yeah, seriously. Let's see what the music's gonna be for this man. It is the current champion, the Italian stallion. It is Reynor for Clash. Yeah, not bad.
All right. So I feel like the Cybercore should be finishing soon now, right? Those are really long riffs now. Man.
Yeah, they really were, and this is pretty cool from Reynor, by the way, because he went for an early pull into the hatch block. This is more like probably what Bly was looking for in that first game against Mana. This is a lot cleaner of an execution, and obviously Gerald letting him get away with it, even with the double gas cancelled. So this is somebody's build order. It just didn't work out for Bly in the way that he was expecting, clearly, but Reynor has made it work so far. Let's see what comes of it.
Yeah. Gonna have that Overlord finishing on up right as that spawning pool finishes, so the Lings get started, making their way across the map, and Gerald should have full knowledge of now what he's up against, and especially when that probe moves back in and confirms, okay, you're not immediately just taking the natural just yet. I really do have to start respecting this as he sees even more Lings coming out from that main base.
Yeah, as well as the hatchery here on the low ground. So it is very similar to what happened with Bly, only there is no supply block for Reynor, and there is this hatchery going up on the other side uncontested mostly. Gerald is trying... Oh, nice.
Good micro.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
Very...
Okay, well, hatchery will be able to pop out a couple of Lings over here, and I love... Man, this wall in over here from Gerald is actually really nice. Assuming the Zealot can make the most of it. Oh no, it gets actually very isolated out there in the middle of no man's land as it tries to find a nice chokeman. I was gonna say that gateway wall is like a hallway, but it's only useful if you have units to put in the hallway.
Yeah, that Zealot did buy a lot of time though. Let's see if these two adepts popping up can actually save the Cybercore. It will be very close in fact, but with the Queen popping up, I think the Cybercore will definitely fall. It's just a matter of how many Lings will be standing at that point.
What can man do against such reckless hate? Oh no. Oh no. Everything is going wrong. Cybercore gonna go down. No more adepts. I love that Gerald at least tried to get a robo down right at the very ends, but oh, there's the thumbs up from the cheeky boy Reynor. The grab in game number 1. Man, that was brutal, Paulo.
Yeah, that was really, really strong and difficult to try and imagine how to hold. Of course, this is exactly what Bly wanted to do, right? It is the exact build order, only it worked this time because Reynor did place the hatchery where he wanted and didn't get supply blocked. He still made just 2 Lings at a time, but he continued to make Lings from his main, which is the important thing because you're actively threatening 2 different sides. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe a Forge would have been good, actually, from Gerald.
Yeah, which is funny enough, actually, the response that Mana had when he was getting, like, potentially proxy hatched and stuff in that other game, but at the end of the day, yeah, just not. I feel like those situations are always really, really tough to handle unless you have a lot of just experience with knowing exactly how to do it, because the people who are really good at it, like especially someone like Reynor who can actually play it out into a macro game, those are the players that are really tough because it's not just, I'm gonna kill you here with this. It's, I'm gonna get just far enough ahead and I'm gonna know the exact moment to transition out. And it's not, I killed you, it's, I'm now playing a macro game where I'm ahead.
Yeah, they can definitely do that, but I mean the commitment is still huge, right? Which is why I'm saying like something like a Forge, for example, I don't say lightly. It's a huge commitment from Protoss, but a cannon can actually shoot inside and outside, and that kind of just deals with both of the. And the way that you would identify this build order is by seeing that your opponent went both for a very early hatchery on your side, that's their first hatchery, and a very early pull or a relatively early pull on their side. So it's a rather big commitment there on the side of the Zerg.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to make it look light of, oh, you know, just making 50, 60 Lings and a proxy hatchery on the other side of the map and dealing your hatchery is not a big commitment. But Yeah, at the end of the day, nice early victory there for Reynor. Poor Gerald doesn't even get to kind of show what he had planned or what he has in store. And now he basically has one opportunity now to try and make something happen, because if you lose this next game, like the series is over, your shot versus Reynor is gone at that point.
Yeah, I would love to see Reynor try this again just to see how Gerald adapts, because there's no way he would do the exact same thing, which really speaks to the opener kind of being a new thing as well, probably, right? Because Gerald's not too familiar with it. And if he had died to this, there's no way he doesn't say either pull probes earlier to try and deny the hatchery, or make a forge to try and get a cannon up. So we'll see what happens here. The next map is going to be Pillars of Gold, which is traditionally a pretty surgy map.
Yeah, no, you're just mentioning the map and everything. I was just thinking about, like, yeah, if Reynor decided to go for something like that again, I'm trying to think about like the distance between the natural expansion wall, which I feel like in Pillars of Gold, it's a little bit further out from the main base in that last map. I'm just thinking, like, okay, does that change anything? Like the wall being further away, so that means that if the hatchery's coming down there over by the Nexus location, like the creep spray doesn't block the wall in as much, or I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Reynor, just decides to try the same thing again and say, like, look, buddy, like, this is the first gate. If you can't make it past this, you just don't even get to play StarCraft against me like a normal game.
Yeah, he would have to have extremely high confidence in the build order, but I think in this map, maybe he'll do it next map. I don't know what the next map is. This map, like you're pointing out, there's other features to it that might make it less likely. It is slightly longer, though not much longer than Romanticide. And it does have the ramp leading up to the natural base. So say that drone gets denied from placing the hatchery inside. What Bly did was place the hatchery outside to where it potentially blocked them. If Reynor wanted to do something like that, there would be one less option available, right? Because there's a ramp there instead. So there's definitely less flexibility on this map than on Romanticide.
All right, well, we're going to be hopping into game number 2 on Pillars of Gold to see whether or not any shenanigans end up happening. As we're going to be starting over here in the top right-hand side of the map on top of that blue Zerg player going for the 12 pool. He is, in fact, Reynor. Team Clash.
Absolute madman. Bottom left-hand side going for a gas first, though. It is Exxon's Gerald. Feels bad. So I was gonna say the madman, right, for Reynor, because at 12 pull on this map, like if you look at the ramp, there's gonna be less surface area. You need vision up the ramp. But there's less surface area, most importantly, on all of those buildings, where on other maps they're a little bit more exposed. So I think that, combined with the fact that the map is one of the longer maps in the map pool, makes it so that 12 pool isn't ordinarily super strong here. However, given that Gerald went for a gas first, which is something that Reynor might know he's capable of, it's going to be a lot more difficult, I think, to defend this.
Yeah, loses that probe in exchange for the information of seeing those 6 Zerglings. Starts up a second gateway immediately. And the fact that it was a gateway, not a cyber core, makes me think that, yep, he's not going to be going for that forge in this situation. So he's going to try and make the same type of defense happen as that last game. But like you were saying, there's a lot of things that are going to be going a little bit more in his favor compared to the last game, just with the layout of that natural, the distance across the map. His Ling's going to get here after the first zealot pops.
Yeah, there's no hatchery inside either. So yeah, this looks pretty good for Gerald, in spite of the gas first opening, actually. And because he's not taking that Nexus at all, he's fully respecting the spawning pool as early as it was. I think he's gonna be just fine defending this. And he did a good job as well of tucking in the cyber core, so you can see that the gateway is exposed instead of the cyber core. And with this second zealot, I wouldn't mind him pulling a few probes here and just making sure that he keeps his gateway alive.
Yeah, Reynor doing some nice back and forth micro over here. Oh, sneaks the Lings in and around. He gets a minor surround, but at the end of the day, it's just going to be scouting information more than anything else.
Yeah, it's actually a terrible move there for Reynor, because he forfeits the gateway in order to do that. It was going to be difficult to kill it anyway, but Gerald kind of baits him into a position where Reynor doesn't quite get the full surround and loses 3 links as a result. Without those 3 links, he can no longer beat 2 zealots, so he's forced to pull back.
Yeah, nicely done there. Like you were saying, very, very nice position now for Gerald, being able to hold all that off. Goes for his, and adds on his Stargate now. And of course his Nexus is going to be a little bit further delayed. So follow-ups as like a normal build order opening are going to be a little bit slower. But remember that Reynor also did have to commit a lot to that. And actually had to make a few more links to deal with the double Adept that came across the map.
Yeah, and there's also 2 Zealots that Gerald could have moved out with. He didn't, so he was expecting, okay, Reynor could have links ready to run by if I move out with my Zealots as well. But that is part of the reason why Reynor is overly cautious, and I think, you know, makes quite a few circlings. I still would have liked for Gerald to move out at least with one of those Zealots, at least until he's spotted by an Overlord or further into the map, just to make sure that Reynor would make more circlings. But I really like his position right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's worth mentioning, like, normally a lot of the fears would be, oh, your Adepts or your Zealots get caught in the middle of the map by all those Zerglings, but you know that it's not going to be Zergling speed for a bit. Zergling speed just started again recently, so you definitely have some time to play around with, but for now it does look like Reynor is going to be able to push back any of the kind of minor bits of offensive that Gerald is throwing out. Gerald actually ends up just shading his Adepts further back home and kind of rejoins his forces together.
Yes, indeed. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to find the right camera.
I'm following Tenchi.
Perfect.
Which seems to match up with their program. So
yeah.
Well, this is actually a nice little bit of denial over here. The third base taking a lot of damage. Looks like he's just going to go for the right click down on it, and the Oracle's far enough away off of creep that's going to be able to survive.
Wow.
The Adepts both managed to survive. Only the Zealot goes down. Are you kidding me?
Slippery, beautiful control here by Gerald. He's really getting the best out of the champion in this game right now. He is in a very, very strong position, and I love this follow-up, Ravi. It's nasty.
Resonant Engraved Adepts, 2 more gateways being added on. All of the Oracles have survived so far, with a 3rd Oracle being added. This is definitely not going to be easy for Reynor to hold on to against, because it's a tough attack to deal with when you're in a normal situation. In this situation, Reynor's going to be playing a bit from behind.
Yeah, most certainly. It's definitely a difficult situation. There's also these 3 Oracles from Gerald that are so very dangerous against Zerglings. So they can really help, say, hold a choke if Gerald was to shade into a choke. Luckily for Reynor, he has already gotten a Roach Warren and is already preemptively making some Roaches. This could kind of be a blessing in disguise if he's preparing for an attack of his own, more or less. Like if he commits heavily to Roaches and Gerald's attack just completely flops.
Yeah. Well, Zerglings poke forward at the front. They don't see a whole lot there. The Zealot is kind of plugging up that wall properly. And the Quality Council is a lot further back. So I guess Reynor's still kind of in the dark about what exactly is coming his way.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's coming whose way at this point, right? Because Reynor has not been making drones for a little while. It's Gerald out on the map, and if Reynor moves out first, and if he commits, and if Gerald identifies that is a commitment from Reynor, I again will like Gerald's position. Reynor is moving out and trying not to be spotted by these Roaches. The Adepts have been using some of their energy, which is to Reynor's advantage to some degree, but I still think Gerald's gonna have a lot because he was preparing an attack of his own.
Yeah, the Oracle's using Revelation and their charge just to clean up creep is going to be really funny, because now we see the Adepts, they're shading forward as the Roaches are moving in. He's going to counter the Queens. Capturing the Queens is going to be a big win, but the 3rd base is also going to be vulnerable at the same time. But who gets the better end of this?
Yeah, meanwhile, at the 3rd, I'm not sure if the Oracles are going to be able to do something there. Not yet, but a Sentry will buy enough time, I think, for them to pull back. The Oracles are being pulled back as the Adepts are making it further into Reynor's side of the map. Dealing and fighting only with Zerglings is perfect for Gerald. Oh, no!
The Corrosive Vials! The Lynx trap in all those Adepts, and all of those Adepts go down for the most part to the Corrosive Vial. But Gerald manages to hold on back at home for a little bit longer. He's going to have to deal with the second wave, but 3 Oracles taking out the remaining Queens. There's 1 more Queen coming for. That's all the anti-air besides Corrosive Vials.
I would love to see Void Rays in production right now. Instead, we see Immortals, which are going to be pretty good too, but there is no anti-air. The problem is those guys, the Oracles, are going to run out of energy. These Corrosive Vials have been better than they have any right to be against this Adept, sadly, but it still seems like Gerald is holding on.
Yeah, Immortal getting healed up for a little bit by that shield battery, but it gets taken out. Oh, the Immortal surviving, just barely. Another Immortal on the front lines does end up falling, and the final hit on that last Immortal on the further backside does take it out. But these 3 Ravagers are just not really enough to bust through this.
Reynor has been so brilliant with every bile. It's amazing. It's like he makes the biles very difficult to dodge, right? Or wait until there is a warp in, and then he's paying attention. Like he's baiting it more or less. He knows when the warp in timing is. He knows where he needs to be looking at, and he catches units consistently. But yet still, Gerald has played a fantastic game. No, these Lings are doing too much, Ravi.
That is so critical right there. Reynor was actually down in workers for a bit, but now he's very much so up in workers. He is going to be losing these Ravagers potentially, especially with the Oracles diving in for some extra damage. More Queens just being rallied across the map. My God, he's actually just still so committed to this, but it's finally droning up a little bit behind it.
Yeah, he is exactly that, right? Like he's starting to kind of ease up. He starts the lair as well, fires that up, but those 13 probes going down, that was so painful. My God, Gerald got... It's difficult to say unlucky because it's like Reynor makes his own luck in a certain sense, right? It's like, hey, deal with all of this at once. And it's like, if Gerald had kept those adepts from getting like what, like 4 Ravager shots like perfectly in the middle of all of his adepts, and they all die at the same time basically when they were on offense, trading so effectively against the Zerglings. And then on defense, he ate so many biles, some to his discredit, I guess, and some to Reynor's credit, just waiting for those warp ins. That Ling ran by just absolutely brilliant. This guy has, you know, like 20 hands or something. It's just absurd.
That is the really, really hard part about playing against someone who's basically in contention as one of the best. Oh no, the Zealot. I think it was on whole position too. It just was slightly off on the whole position.
Yeah, a little bit off. Not exactly holding the right location there. And now the Lings are gonna make their way in and trying to get out. But okay, Gerald getting a little bit of a trap there. I'm not sure if that's to his advantage, as now he has Reynor Lings trapped inside.
Yeah. 4 more workers end up falling over there, and we see a worker differential of almost 20 to 25 or so. Like, this is not an ideal spot, but he's going to try and use these oracles to get a bit of damage on. Loses 1 oracle, finds a few drones in exchange for it. Definitely need to keep that oracle alive. That is, right now, Gerald's only eyes really out on the map that's consistently able to actually see what's coming. And unfortunately, not even going to necessarily see the Spire. But, the Adept.
You see it here? Did he see it?
Okay, he did
see it. I'm not sure if he clicked on it.
Yeah.
Might have. I mean, those adepts had to be mostly for scouting, and he's already making Phoenixes to his credit, so that might be exactly what he needs if Reynor does commit for a swap here.
Yeah, even adds on a second target, so I think he's definitely respecting it. So a lot of Banelings being added on over here. Baneling speed's not actually quite done, and funny enough, Gerald's actually going to back off right before that, so that will give Reynor the time that he needs to finish up that Baneling speed for all of the Banelings he just made.
Yeah, I'm so concerned for Gerald because his army is mostly Zealots, and obviously Reynor is very well aware of this, which is why he has so many Banelings. But Gerald is going to have to find a way to trade efficiently. Zealots against Banelings is so difficult because they clump up under light units.
Definitely not the usual ideal way to deal with it is like mass Zealots. And usually, Protoss player would say, well, I'll have some Archons in the front. They'll kind of buffer, and I'll pull my Zealots back, wait until a lot of the Banelings have been used, then I'll move in with the rest of the Zealots. That's not an option right now. There's a few High Templars that are being warped in, so maybe you'll have a few Archons? Maybe?
Yeah, and this is a little bit painful too because there is a Warp Prism with 2 Immortals, but there are Muta already out, and Reynor has basically just kept them defensively. So this Warp Prism could very well die alongside the Immortals. He has to be so careful here.
Oh, he's sticking around to try and get that hatchery. The Mutas are now revealed. I don't think that's enough to actually kill them in time.
Oh!
Okay.
That was close.
Imagine if that Curse of Bell had actually come down maybe a second earlier.
Yeah, actually one thing that I was thinking about is he really should have been, kind of like how he was paying attention to the Warpins. Reynor should have been well aware that the Warp Prism could only survive if he recalled right away, basically, as soon as he saw the Muta. So he should have been ready to throw down a Corrosive Vial maybe a second earlier.
Well, that's going to be a lot of dead Mutas very, very quickly. And after that, actually, the Phoenix can still find some value, picking up some drones here and there, but might need to use them to pick up some Ravagers and Banelings over on this side of the map. Because all those
the Banelings, no! Ah, Banelings, no! The red towards the Templar! The Zealots trying to save their own lives, run the Banelings into the Templar, though most of them did go back into the War Prism, but unfortunately for Gerald, Storm is not done. Just seconds away. Now it is finished, but so are 21 of his workers.
Yeah, and that fourth base is just not looking too great. He's still losing workers that are just transferring between the bases. Eventually the Oracles and apparently the Phoenix come over here to help deal with that. But then the rest of the army moves back into the other base, and there's just barely anything left. Storm is done, like you said, and those High Templars in the Warp Prism. No, there's actually... Okay, there's the High Templars in the Warp Prism. They have some Storm available, but they're not even going to get to use it.
Yeah, it looks like Gerald could use an Archon partner or something. This guy is... Reynor is just too good, right? Like, it's...
Oh.
It is just insane.
That's the power of being that level of player. You can fall a bit far behind in the game and still make the comeback.